was insane. What did I just watch? Honestly, I'm just like gobsmacked at what that dude can do. Kia ora and welcome back. My name's Zoe Stebe, your vocal coach for today. And in today's video, I'm going to be having a look at Dimash singing SOS. Now, I will tell you, I have never watched this performer. I know. Dimash. Actually, how do you say his name? But I want to say thank you very much to these people. I'm really excited because people keep on saying that he is like the male version of So Young. So I'm going to do my best to have a look at it, but I'm pretty sure that if he's as good as So Young, there is no way that we are going to get through all of the cool shit that he does with his voice in one video. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm already really loving this song. But that is actually a male falsetto. So you can hear that lovely stiff vocal cord. Of course, for my female voice, that isn't very high. But for a man, that's like mega high. Fantastic control. Love the breath control, not pushing. I didn't start it right at the beginning, but they were like, oh, he looks really good on camera. Oh, fantastic. I mean, he's a good looking dude. I will give you that. Voici le SOS d'un terrien en détresse. J'ai mûri fier sur toi. Holy crap. That guy like goes from so freaking high to super duper low. I mean, that is no mean feat. There is a lot of discussion about what it is that's actually happening in the male soprano. Some people believe that they are in a falsetto. So at the beginning, you clearly heard a lot of breath in the sound, and you clearly heard that there was very little actual tone. So that signals to my ears, without checking it on some sort of spectrometer, that he is singing in falsetto. Now, what happens when he goes up into his soprano range, and we do call it the male soprano, that voice type in the male voice is called a countertenor. Now, some countertenors are actually singing in falsetto, but some people believe that they aren't actually able to sustain the performance load that is required of a countertenor. I mean, like this, he's singing like a 3.5 minute long song, and that's really difficult if you were going to sing that all up in falsetto. So a lot of people believe, and it really depends on the technique of the countertenor, that they're actually singing in thin vocal folds right up the range. Now that really has to do with the flexibility and symmetry of a larynx and whether they're able to do that or not. And it has a lot to do with the facility itself. So the male voice type is really dependent on the size of the larynx. The guy's face was my favorite. That was a bit random at the beginning, wasn't it? What was that about? It was sort of like a bit of a classical thing going on there, but very cool. And when he went up to that, woo! You can really hear like a little bit of air coming through in his sounds. And he's obviously more of like a pop singer than a classical singer. And the main difference that we hear as listeners between classical singing and pop singing, for example, is that we hear that lowered larynx, which we've gone into in a couple of the other videos, but also this idea that the vibrato is allowed to vibrate a lot more than in pop music. So what creates vibrato is actually the oscillation of harmonics within the sound. So when the structures inside the larynx are nice and relaxed, mixed. And then they're allowed to ring along with the harmonics that we're creating with our voices. And also on top of the vocal fold, we've got like this sort of spongy, slimy layer. And what happens is that kind of like shimmers along with all the harmonics. And then that also gives us another sense of this ring. Let's keep watching. This is insane.
Je crois dans un pays, métamorphose, je sens quelque chose qui m'attire, voilà.
What is happening in this song? He's like bouncing around all over the place. I don't know. It sounds, I mean, I know he's amazing. My goodness me, this sounds incredible. Like what a random group of things in a song. And obviously it makes sense, right? I mean, I'm kind of trying to read along with the subtitles, but I'm more trying to listen to his voice. And I'm not quite getting the sort of like through line of the song. Please let me know down in the comments if you know what like the actual story is behind this song, or why it sounds to me like there's a bunch of different characters. Like it's going from sort of like some sort of male character, which is like that low larynx sound, and then a female character who's singing these sort of high countertenor parts. And then they're kind of coming together for the sort of more belty parts of the song. Now, you can kind of see in a couple of points, he's like shaking his head with the vibrato at the end. It works for him. And I'm really of the opinion that if it isn't broke, don't fix it. This dude has a stellar career without anyone trying to fix that little head shake. That just kind of tells me that there's a little bit of tension going on. But how could you blame him? He's on like this ginormous show, which is super important. So yeah. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of tension, and we all hold tension in different places. Again, live performance is a snapshot in time of that one day. Look how high that larynx is though.
Je vise, pourquoi je meurs, pourquoi je ris, pourquoi je pleure. J'y crois comme et les autres, était notre amour.
I do just have to point out, because of the whole copyright thing, what you can really notice there in the top part of his range. Da, 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 da. That is, again, what I was bringing up in the Soyoung video. That's twang, yeah? That's twang that's getting him right up the top of the range. And I think someone asked me, what do I feel about twang in the classical voice, and is it needed? It certainly is. In the opera world, that is called squillo. So the squillo, it's an Italian word, and I can assure you 100% that we require twang as classical singers to make the voice carry. So in order to send the voice out, it's not about necessarily... It's about getting louder, but it's about boosting the correct frequencies that actually travel the furthest. So in those for the singer's voice and those for the human ear are between 2 and 4 kilohertz. That means that when there's a boost between those 2 to 4 kilohertz, that the sound will go very, very far. And we believe that the actual epiglottis, which is the kind of lid of the larynx that comes down as the last part before we swallow to protect the lungs, what happens is the epiglottis has a sphincter muscle around the outside. So it's a circular muscle. And what happens is it gets pulled together, or it gets pulled down. That shape that it makes in the epiglottis when we're using twang mimics the shape of the outer ear. So what happens is our ears tune into those frequencies very, very easily, and we hear it as being an incredibly loud sound. It's just a given. Opera singers must sing with squealer when they are going over an audience. Because if you're a Wagnerian soprano, there's no way that you can thicken up your vocal folds enough in order to send your voice over an entire orchestra. So they use twang in order to make the voice carry further. Let's keep watching. This is insane. Okay, I just had to point quickly out that one note, that was a full-on twangy rock belt. All he would have had to have done would be add on a little constriction, and he'd be like Steve Tyler and Aerosmith. Thank you so much for recommending him to me, though. If you've got any other artists that you would like me to have a listen to and do a bit of an analysis, then don't forget to let me know in the comments below. And if you've got any value out of today, then don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button, because I bring out videos just like this one every single week. I can't wait to see you next time. Ka kite anō.